Hello everyone, Flapjack Pants here. This is a bit of a different video. Today I just wanted to rant a little bit, maybe. Kind of just give my opinion on the current state of Phantom Forces and what I think is the fate of the game looking at the next few years. 2020 in 2025 the game will turn 10 years old, so I think it's about time we start thinking about this kind of stuff. So I guess about me first. Rank 155. I'm not very good at the game, but like I'm not like a YouTuber or anything. But I feel like what I say you can take with a grain of salt, but I think is, I guess, representative of what the average person in the community is thinking, even if maybe they don't say it. I've been playing this game since 2016, which is half of my life at this point. I've been here since pretty much the start. So I feel like maybe what I say has, maybe it has some credence to it. So, first and foremost, before this gets all super negative and stuff, I just wanted to say the past few updates have been good. They've been very good. So like the new scopes, daily challenges. I feel like that kind of harkened back to kind of some of the wants of the community from back in the day, that we never had until now. So that's really good, really cool. However, player count is still dropping. Like now during peak hours, maybe 6,000, 5,000 people are in the servers. Now this is down from, a few years ago when the game was in a much lower lull in terms of, its standing in terms of updates and stuff. But back then there was 7,000 to 9,000 people. So the player counts are still slowly dropping. And I believe that is because of the main thesis of this video, the fact that the game has lost its identity. Okay, Phantom Forces has lost its identity from the old days in 2016, 2017, when the game was, I think, at its peak. When the game was what it was always meant to be. So, first and foremost, apart from the last few updates, which were, the really good ones that I mentioned, the updates before that have been very small. Really, the only real updates that we get are around the holidays. Halloween and Christmas. Maybe 4th of July, we get some stuff. Back in the day, when every update, added a whole bunch of new cool stuff, is kind of out the window. So that was part of the identity of the game that now it's not around anymore, I wouldn't say. Now there's been a few, I guess, like revolutionary updates, like they added new grenade types, but it's still been like smaller than like when they nerfed the M60, for example. That was a huge update in how it played into the culture of the game at the time, but yeah, I digress. So the updates have been getting smaller. So like if you look at the patch notes on a modern update, it's just like a few lines. And I know like the devs are working on different projects, and they are very busy people, and I'll get onto that later. So like the archetypal update nowadays is just like some balance fixes, like moving the same stats back and forth on different weapons that do not affect the meta in a serious way. And then they add some like reskin of a PDW or an AR-15, or like some goofy conversion that, frankly, not many people are going to use. This is all very negative, but I think this is just what I think. And then, maybe sometimes they'll like buff a sniper or something, and then people are happy, and then they just take it away a few updates later. But updates weren't always like that. Like the Phantom Forces update experience is gone from the old days. So that's a piece of the identity that's no longer there. I guess focusing in on my point about the meta, it's stale and uninteresting. You know, basically every gun, you know, you just put the same suppressors and stuff on, the same lasers, the same whoa, same underbarrels, the same, just, it's, you know, the objective with the meta is to just turn every gun into an M16A3 reskin. And I think that kind of stinks. Back in the day when, yes, we had fewer scopes, and yes, we had fewer attachments for guns in general, but that made them unique. You know, there was a big difference between, like, you know, between all the different guns in the meta. You know, you could have your M16A3. We also had, you know, interesting stuff like, you know, a more powerful Honey Badger. Or like, you know, a more unique, like AN-94, for example, or an ASVAL. And, you know, nowadays it's just, a good gun is just, it's like the M16A3, and that's it. And, like, if you want to be seriously, like, if you want to be serious and do well with anything else, you're gonna have a tough time. You know, unless you're, like, literally Oscar. Yeah. Snipers, in that sense, are, you know, a lot weaker than they were back then. You know, maybe it was making the BFG not the only one-shot sniper that caused this. I feel like that was a factor. That was like the BFG's thing. But like slowly, all the snipers are feeling more and more samey. You know, that used to be the one category where, you know, there was the biggest of differences. Frankly, what's happened to like ARs and stuff, what I just talked about, you know, how they're all, they feel more similar now, the meta's stale. That was, like, snipers were going to be immune from that, but I feel like that's not really the case anymore. Maybe I'm just not reading into the stats properly or anything, but again, like, every weapon class in this game feels the same. And I guess shotguns, you know, even though they have been nerfed, I feel like they're still way more beefed than, you know, snipers or any other category. But really, they hold a monopoly over short to medium distance ranges that I don't think any category should have. So I guess those are my issues with the meta. Oh, I guess one more thing. The scope update I think was great, but I think it contributes to this. The fact that, you know, now we have more choices for scopes and stuff, and you know, arguably they look way better. You know, now just snipers feel different or they all feel the same. Because they used to be distinguished by their scopes, but now they're not. You can put your favorite scope on every sniper in the game, basically, and you know, there's nothing much more to it. So, I guess those are some of the ways that I feel like the game is, you know, losing its identity. And this is because the updates are, or the devs are working on Call of Robloxia 6. You know, that's their new big hit game that's going to, you know, rejuvenate the community and replace Phantom Forces or something like that. But, you know, call me a negative Nancy here, but I don't think that that's what's gonna happen. I think, you know, even though it's a very technically cool game, and I think there's a lot going for it, this would have been a big game if there was nothing else. I feel like it's it doesn't hold up to what people would want from a Paradox, or sorry, not a Paradox, a different game studio, from Stylus Studios game. You know, like you look at Call of Robloxia 5, you look at Phantom Forces, and you know, Call of Robloxia 6 just, it doesn't feel like it fits into that family, to be honest with you. Now, I could be totally wrong here, and you know, Call of Robloxia 6 becomes the biggest game on Roblox. That's totally possible, but I don't think we can count on that. I'm just saying. So, you know, and what then? You know, like when the devs, like if this game doesn't go as far as the devs would have liked, you know, then what? What do we have to show for it? You know, all of these years of, you know, putting Phantom Forces on the back burner to create this new game, you know, it's been like this since like 2019, I think. And honestly, that's when things started going downhill. So like, you know, if you don't get like a smash new game, then you lose your old one too. So I'm curious as to, you know, I guess the philosophy behind it. I'm very skeptical. Again, forgive me for being negative. These are just my thoughts. So, you know, all of this, you know, emphasis on Call of Robloxia 6, all of this taking away from the core identity of Phantom Forces, you know, all of this moving away from the traditions that made this game, you know, the best game on Roblox. You know, all of this kind of changing and diluting down the like what made this game unique and cool, I feel like means that if things continue as they are, even if the updates are good, even if, you know, fire new additions to the game continue to be added, if they ignore these key considerations, I think Stylus Studios will end up with a dead game. You can look at a game like Ace of Spades, you know, which was an up-and-coming shooter. You know, everyone thought it would be the new big thing, and I loved it. I think it was a great game. But, you know, it was slowly ground down by the sands of time, and now it's dead. You know, a few thousand active people turn to a few hundred, turn to a few dozen, turn to, you know, what it is now. So, if things continue as they are for Phantom Forces, that's where we're gonna end up as well. And I guess all of this is very similar to the case of Minecraft. So between 2016 and 2018, Minecraft was in this exact golden dark age that Phantom Forces is in right now. You know, good updates, other than the combat update, good updates, you know, solid feedback from the players, but just the community fled underground. You know, you would not want to be caught playing Minecraft between 2016 and 2018. You know, that's how bad it was. It was total community death. But Minecraft cheated death and resurrected itself. You know, in a way that I don't think this game will if it dies. And that's because, you know, as a shooter game, you're gonna need a few lobbies of people, like a good number of lobbies of people, which is at least a few hundred if you want an active community, and probably more than that, like at all times. So honestly, this is about as small as the community gets without it feeling stale and dying. I mean, like, Phantom Forces YouTubers have already been making the same thing for years anyways, so it's already stale in that sense. This is as small as it can feasibly get, I think. And so, if it gets any smaller, we have a serious question to ask ourselves. You know, what do we do then? I'm personally probably going to stay past that point. You know, I was, you know, the community is cool, but I was just here mainly to, you know, I guess live out my nostalgia. But like, you know, if we suffer total community death, like in Minecraft, you know, I don't think we can count on any resurgences. And then, like, what will we have to show for it all? Those are just some thoughts that I had about the state of Phantom Forces. Thank you, like and subscribe.